And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm with another brand new video for Gaming with GS. Daniel Deathcaster here on Wizard101, and today I want to show you a video revolving around jewels and how the whole jewel socketing system actually works stat-wise. I've been confused about this system. Now, some of my friends have been pretty confused about it, and I've seen posts in the community about people being confused with this system as well, and if they're actually worth. So we're going to go over how these things can affect your combat, how they can affect your resist and your damage, and you can make the decision if you want to invest your time farming for some of these jewels, because I mean, some of them have a pretty big impact, other ones don't. But let's go ahead and take a look. Now, once you're level 15 and you've completed the main crafting quest, the very first crafting quest in Wizard City, you can go ahead and pick up a quest from the little jewel shop in the shopping district that allows you to learn about jewel socketing, and then you'll be able to socket your stuff with jewels, right? Now, there are several jewels in the game. They'll be in this tab right here. I don't have any right now because they're all in my shared bank. But basically, here I have 2 jewels in this amulet, plus 14 resist and plus 4 resist. If we take a look at the rings, there's a square socket here. The theme, there's a tier, a circle, and a triangle socket here. Your pet can have a star socket as well, and your dex can have a socket as well. Your other gear cannot have sockets, as you can see. So it's only good for themes, amulets, rings, pets, and decks. Now, the big question everyone has is, okay, so I have these resist jewels. And I'll go ahead and go to my bank real quick to show you the damage jewels. But you basically get these jewels from killing bosses. The same way you get reagents and snacks and gear, you get them from killing bosses and enemies. Sometimes you'll get them from quests. And I have a lot of them, actually. As you see, this one gives plus balance damage. Some of them allow you to do different things. For the pet games, the pet derby, this one gives me 11 death damage, as you see. There's a wide variety of them. The squares tend to be resist and block. As you see, all these are resist and block. The triangle ones tend to be accuracy, and sometimes they'll give you like a card. This is also for power pip chance. Circles tend to be damage. As you see, I have a lot of these, and I think critical as well, right? Yeah, critical as well. And then we have tiers, which tend to just be for health and mana. And then we have stars, which are for your pet, mainly, which give you cards, pet derby talents, and sometimes they'll even give you extra resist as well, and even energy. So, how does this affect your stats? Well, some of these are very self-explanatory. Health and mana is self-explanatory. The cards are self-explanatory. But the big one is resist and damage. So be aware that, for example, the one that I have right now in my amulet here is resist. This is not percentage resist, though. If we take a look at gear, we see we have percentage resist here, plus 10% resist. Plus 7% resist. You see, plus 7% damage. These jewels are only flat damage and flat resist. So this amulet here has flat plus 18 resist. And as we see here, there it is, flat 18 resist, not percentage. The same with the damage modifiers. They're also flat damage. Now you're probably thinking, okay, well, 11 death damage and, 15 resist, just flat, isn't that kind of terrible? Doesn't that really not make a difference? Well, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. Let's go and break out the notepad and the calculator here to show you guys how much of a difference it actually makes and when it makes a difference. Now, one thing to note as well is the only way you can get these sockets is through crowns, and of course we knew King Zhao would implement another crown use. Whoop-de-doo, what a surprise. However, there are good news. You can also farm for artisan socket wrenches. And these aren't that hard to get. I actually got 2 of these back to back on a Morganth run, so not too difficult to get. I've gotten 2 other ones as well that I've already used, so not too difficult. And I've done Morganth about only 30 times, so the percentage for these to drop is probably around 15% or so. Not too bad. So I have my square gem, and for the equipment that has 1 socket, you can easily do it for free. As you see, I can fix it. But for the ones that have a few more sockets, like my theme here has 3 sockets, in order for you to use all of these, you will need to click unlock all sockets. And you can either use crowns here, or you can use the artisan's socket wrench. This one you need a master socket wrench. If it has 3, if it has 2, I think you need an artisan socket wrench master for 3. So that's kind of the sucky part. I think you can still add 1 though. Let's check real quick. I think you just can't use all 3, but you can still add 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So if you want, you can use 1 of them, but if you want to unlock all the other ones, you have to unlock all the sockets. So that's pretty much it for that. Okay, so let's say we are casting Skeletal Pirate here, and for the sake of math, let's just say we're doing 500 damage. 500 base damage. So we have 500 base damage with just the regular hit. None of your boosts, none of your damage modifiers, no blades, right? Now the first thing that gets modified by damage is your gear. Say you have 50% damage, right? So this 500, what you'd have to do is multiply this by 1.5. Because you're going to do 500 damage and then the 50% from your gear. This will make us do 750 damage. Now let's say you have some blades as well. So you have a 50% blade. So we have a 50% blade. Say we have a 40% blade. Actually a 45% blade. A 35% blade. And let's say we have a 40% blade, right? Now all of this adds up to... So 85 plus 85 is 170, right? So we're basically getting another 170%. Now say you also have a jewel that gives you plus 10 damage. Now the thing with these jewels is that, yes, you're probably thinking, okay, well 750 and then this percentage right here will give us, let's see the calculator here, we have 750 damage, right? Times 2.7, because we're doing 170% extra. That'll give us 2,000 damage. So this right here, the total damage for this spell will be 2,025, right? Now if you have a jewel, the same thing applies. You have your regular, first your gear modifies the damage, then you have your blades, and then the main. But with the jewel, we're actually gonna be, the flat damage will be applied before the blades. So instead of this spell doing 750, say you have plus 10 death damage, this spell is going to do 760. Now plus 10 is pretty low. You can actually get your damage up to like plus 40 with a lot of different jewels. So let's just say you have a plus 40, right? That'll bring us up to 790 damage. Think of jewels as a mini damage boost, like you know how Gargantuan and Colossal give you plus 250, plus 300 and all that stuff? Well, think of this as like a mini version of that. This gives us plus 40. Now, this plus 40, the jewel, will also be affected by blades. So this plus 40 is actually going to increase depending on how many blades you have. So instead of this time 750 times the blade, it's going to be 790 times the blade value, which is 2.7. And you're going to be doing 2,133. Now, as you see, a plus 40 gem increases your damage by about 110 or so. That's what a plus 40 damage in jewels would do. Increase your damage by about 110. And the reason why this is so high is because blades affect the jewel, which is good. Now, it'd be even better if the jewel was affected by gear as well, but it isn't, so it kind of sucks because if you don't have these 4 blades, you're not really gonna see much damage. If you take these 4 blades out, you're only gonna do 790. It's really only a plus 40. There's nothing else to it. So as far as damage modifying jewels go, they're pretty good. I mean, it's not drastically game changing, but it gives you a little bit more damage. Now, critical wise, it just gives you a flat amount. So for example, right now I have 38 because of my other gear, so I'm hitting 1% of the time. But say you have like another plus 30 in critical of jewels, you'll basically hit 2%. So once again, it's not that game breaking or game changing, but it gives you a little boost, which is what jewels tend to do, just give you a little boost. So let's take a look at resist. So we gone over the damage. Let's go over resist modifiers. Right now, let's take my amulet for example. Say we have plus 20 extra resist, right? Or you know what? Let's go with plus 40 still. Let's go with plus 40 because we went plus 40 for damage. Let's say we have plus 40 resist on our jewels as well. So let's say we're getting hit with a spell that does 1,000 damage, right? So let's say we're getting hit with a spell that does 1,000 damage to us. Or you know what? To make it equal, let's say we're getting hit with a spell that's 500 damage, right? 500 damage. And say the boss has 1 blade on, right? Let's say the boss has a plus 30% blade. So that'll be 500 times 1.3. So that would be 500 times 1.3. The boss will do 650 damage to you, right? Now resist, it works a little different. Since there are no resist blades, your resist value doesn't increase. Unless you have a tower shield, then it increases by 50. Or unless you have the specific school spell, then I guess it boosts as well. But when do you actually use specific school shields? Not very often. Most of the time people are going to use tower shields. So on an average case, let's just say you don't have any shields, right? So the first thing that the game will do is look at your gear resist. So let's say you have 50% resist. If you have 50% resist, that 650 is actually going to be multiplied times 0.5, which is going to be 650 times 0.5, which will be 325. That means the spell will now do 325 damage to you. And then the jewel comes. So let's say you have a plus 40, right? What this will do, it will only subtract 40 from this. It won't do another 40. It won't do another 40%. It will literally do 325 minus 40. So you'll basically do 285 damage. If we do 325 minus 40, that'll basically do 285 damage. That's how much damage you're taking, which isn't that big of a difference. If we took a look at the damage stuff, we basically got an extra 100, an extra 110 damage. The resist only lowers it by a flat 40. Now let's say you have a tower shield on, right? So 325. If you have a tower shield on, then all of your damage gets reduced. The jewel is taken into account, which means that this 285 will once again be cut in half. So times 0.5, and you'll basically do 143 damage. 143. So as you can see, with a spell that does 650 damage, and with a with 50% resist on your gear and a 50% tower shield, you could be taking some damage off with that jewel. Now let's say we didn't have that jewel. If we didn't have that jewel and we still put a tower shield, what will happen? Well, what will happen is that basically this 325 won't be taken into account. Well, this 285 won't be taken into account, only this 325. So in this case, we would have 325 times 0.5, and it'll be 162. So this would be how much damage you're taking without the jewel, and this is how much damage you'd be taking with the jewel with tower shields. So as you can see, not that big of a difference. the damage modifying jewels have a greater impact than the resist modifying jewels. And the only reason why that is because we have a lot more damage modifying blades than we do damage reducing shields. So whenever you're socketing jewels, what I guess you should do is focus more on damage because they'll have a greater impact rather than focusing on resist, because as you see, resist doesn't make that big of a difference. But damage sure does make a bigger difference. It almost makes double, if not triple, the difference. So that's pretty much it for jewel socketing. Hopefully you understand a little more. It is just a flat value. It is not a percentage. And blades and shields affected, but your gear stats do not affect it. And yeah, pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you understood everything. If you have any confusions, any questions, go and leave in the comments section below. I'll be happy to answer and help you out with anything. If you want to go ahead and leave your gear stats down there, and if you want me to like do the math on something, if you're kind of confused on how to do it, I'll even do that for you if you like. And yeah, that's pretty much for this video. Thank you for watching. As always, plenty of other Wizard101 content on the channel. More stuff coming in the future as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. I hope that this video helped you out in any way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. If you didn't like it, you can leave a comment below as well and give some feedback. If you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well. And I usually try my best to answer those comments within the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how busy I am. I also have plenty of other content on my channel about different gaming tutorials, as well as general gaming videos for Guild Wars 2, League of Legends, Minecraft, and any others that you may be interested in. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, check it out. And if you like what you see, you can subscribe too. Would really appreciate it. You can also check out my other channels and social medias as shown on the screen right now. And with that, thank you so much, everyone. And this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.